Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner.
Welcome back. And those of you that are new, welcome. Keith Olberman urges blue states to wage economic civil war on red states. Starve red states into submission. Olberman claims 600,000 Americans will be murdered by firearms in the next 10 to 12 years. 60,000 a year? Seriously, dude? When you go to do statistics, if you go to the federal government and they say the firearms deaths, if you take out suicides and accidental deaths, it's like 90% of the total. So we're playing with numbers here. 600,000? That's as many as died in the Civil War, you moron. So that means that for each year, 1 year in the next 10 years, we'll have 60,000 deaths. That's over 1,000 a week. And those of you that say, John, you know what? Come on. Keith Olberman, he's just the extreme. And, you know, he's off the air and he's just ranting. And he was on, I think it was MSNBC forever. And he was a nutcase then. And he's not there anymore. And his influence is waning. No, this is not an outsider case or a tiny percent of the progressive Democrats. A lot of Democrats, my guess would be 25, 30, 35% believe exactly what he's saying. You want to starve your fellow Americans because you don't believe with their ideology. Let's listen to what this moron has to say.
Owned by guns, and therefore there is only one way to stop the mass shootings. It is to suffocate the businesses that make billions of dollars in profits off guns, to destroy the gun lobby, the death lobby, and the Republican Party that defends those lobbies and those businesses. And the only way to do that is an economic civil war. The blue states have all the money. They must starve the red states into submission.
Now, before we continue, that's enough. We don't have to listen to this a-hole anymore. It's amazing to me. Absolutely incredible how these people are such hypocrites. He'd be the first one to make sure that federal tax money and state tax money goes to Planned Parenthood, who's killed millions and millions, and the majority of them non-white babies and abortions. It's incredible to me. He's calling it a death cult and a death party. And let's just read on. Former NBC host and a radical liberal, that's being kind. I'll take an old school liberal over these nut bars anytime. Claim that only an economic civil war pursued by blue states against red states would end mass shootings. Starve them out. He said the only way to stop such act of violence is to suffocate the businesses that profit off the sales of firearms. How about all the hundreds of millions of dollars that go to Planned Parenthood and other organizations? And the lobbies that defend them, and to destroy the Republican Party that opposes it. When you have a two-party system like the United States, and many countries have had, even though there are a lot of them are parliamentary systems, the two major parties, when one calls for the death of the other, that is a number of steps towards authoritarianism and one-party rule. And anybody with even just a little tiny bit of historical knowledge goes that always ends up badly. It's just amazing. He said the only way to stop such actions is to suffocate the businesses that profit. Blue states must starve the red states economically in order to accomplish these things. Well, must starve, he's talking about money-wise. Hey, Keith, moron. Look at a map of the United States, put a big circle right in the middle of it where all these red states are. That's where most of the food is grown. Granted, a whole ton of food is grown in California and in Florida. I live here in upstate New York, a lot of farms. The areas where the farms and where the food is grown, even if it's in a blue state, is in a red area. So how long do you think you guys can last in California just on the food they grow? Good luck with that. And then there's interstate commerce issues. These people are nuts. And I'm trying to use logic here to overcome this guy's stupidity. I don't know why I even bother, because they don't care about any of that. They just don't give a good damn. He's got millions in the bank. He doesn't have to work. He's set for life. He can spout all his crap, his talentless hack that he is when he was on MSNBC. And now he's not on there anymore. Countdown. Countdown to what, you moron? We must have economic civil war. Okay. And crooked judiciary into submission. Sounds like a third world country to me. Let's pack the court with the people we like, and let's get rid of the opposition party. That sound familiar to you? These people have to be stopped. Why I'm even bringing it up at all? Because there's a lot more of them than you think. A lot more Keith Olbermans in the United States than you think. Olbermann made his latest hyperbolic statements Wednesday in a video rant posted to his Twitter account. A gun control proponent, he was clearly reacting to the recent shootings at Michigan State that left 3 people dead and 5 more injured. The former sports journalist used the shooting to claim the U.S. is owned by guns. As Dave Chappelle, the comic, says, the reason why the Second Amendment is second, just in case the First Amendment doesn't work out. And he's exactly right. Even though that's funny, he's right. He began his screed. I must be a screen rant. Is that what screed is? With that assertion, and stressed the need to destroy gun businesses, gun advocacy, and the Republican Party as well. Get rid of the opposition party, one-party rule. Soviet Union, Venezuela. We'll go through Cambodia, Vietnam. The list is endless. And they've all failed. All failed. All the dictatorships in Africa and in Latin America. We are owned by guns. And therefore, the only way to stop the mass shootings is to suffocate the businesses that make billions in profits off guns. 99% of all the gun sales in the United States are law-abiding citizens. Changing gun laws is going to be no different than making heroin and fentanyl illegal. Has it stopped the use of it? No. Criminals will get it. So then the average Joe and Jane walking around, that's a decent, law-abiding citizen that uses a handgun to protect themselves, will be at the mercy of criminals. This is what these morons want. They want chaos. And in the chaos, they want to take over. It's that simple. To destroy the gun lobby, the death lobby, and the Republican Party that defends these lobbies and those businesses. And then he offered the radical means and how to accomplish this by saying the only way to do this is an economic civil war. I think that's what's going to happen, but in a different sense. I think that we're going to have a 2-tiered system. We're going to have a culture war, which we're heavily in right now. There's going to be the conservative, I call it the decent culture, and then the radical left progressive culture with the drag queen story hours and the pronouns and the puberty blockers and surgeries for minors, and the list is endless. And those two are at battle. But there's economic. Now, you're going to see the biggest economic gains in the United States in the last 20, 30 years has been in the South. But I don't mean the deep South. Tennessee, North South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. Yes, there's still poor people down there, but their economy has grown dramatically in the last 2 generations. The Midwest, Texas, we go to the upper Midwest, North and South Dakota, and all through there, have done well economically compared to the past. So you want to go to war with them? You can move Wall Street in 5 minutes. You don't need Wall Street anymore to be in New York City. You can move it somewhere else because most of the transactions are done online anyway. So you want to go to war economically, go to war. Farm growing states, the food growing states, have boycotts, or you boycott them. We'll see how long you last. How much Chef Boyardee canned ravioli can you eat, and how long can it last on the shelf? This guy's a moron. And another 600,000 Americans will be murdered. That's a lie. If over 1,000 people a week were being murdered, it would be a lot more common knowledge than that. He's a nut. Absolute nut. Look at this guy with an NHL shirt on. Olberman certainly is no stranger to rabble-rousing on Twitter. He made headlines in December for being suspended from his account for allegedly harassing CEO Elon Musk. Yeah, let's harass the owner of the website. Good idea. Encouraging his followers to post links to the location of the billionaire's private jet. Remember something. Well, he's not on MSNBC anymore, and his influence isn't nearly what it was. He was on there for years and years and years, and he's just a symptom of the sickness. I watch MSNBC once in a while. It makes me nauseous. CNN. They're all just like him. He also turned heads with the indignant response to the news that President Biden was under investigation for his own classified document scandal. The journalist blasted the media coverage of the story on Twitter, comparing it to the Hillary Clinton email scandal from 2016. Yeah, I think that's a fair comparison. Olberman asked, are we really going to do this again? Are we really going to do Hillary Clinton's email again? Are we really going to do whataboutism on both sides-ism again? Keith, you're a fool. You have mental issues, serious mental issues, and you are an influence on millions and millions of people for a very long time. And there are a lot of people in the mainstream media, cable news, sports, that have serious mental issues as well. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. But believe me, this isn't a small percent of the progressive Democrats. When you want to get, can you ever heard of a high-ranking Republican saying we want to eliminate the Democrat Party? Never happened, because they don't think like authoritarians, but the progressives do. And we have to fight back, and I think we are, and I think we're winning. That's why these people are freaking out. Until next time, goodbye and good luck.